I believe in your soul. I know we need each other. I know our love is strong. We're still riding down this road. Ooh, my love, I can feel you in my bones. This is real. I hear your voice too close. Oh, this feeling grows while I'm filling up this void. Far away, far beyond the limits. Every day, finding our soul. Anyway, it feels like coming home. Coming home.
How come my camera's not in focus? Put the I'm there. Hey y'all, good evening. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Let me it's camera shenanigans in focus. I don't know why it's having a hard time focusing. Bizarre. Y'all really don't need to see me any old kind of way, but just in case you do. Alright, I decided to pivot. And we're going to go ahead and finish this bad boy up today and get started on another classic character for in celebration of Black History Month. I actually have a list of characters that I compiled that I wanted to do personally, and possibly I'm just going to make a few what should I say, some focus. That doesn't happen. Alright, well. Hi y'all. Let me pull up my camera settings. I guess I should have made sure all this was in order before I went live, right? That would have been nice. You just assume certain things are going to work. And then, just like that, it pulls an okie doke on you. Let's see if we can get this camera. There we go. I think you got me now. All right. Cool. That's as tight as that zoom's gonna get. All right, cool. Hope everybody's having a good night. It's cold here in the Windy City, of course, i.e. Windy City, Chicago. And I'm right outside Chicago. And I decided to come back and touch this guy up because I really wasn't happy with how things went the other night, to be quite honest. Because I was still kind of frazzled and I was tired. I was mentally exhausted from a bunch of computer mishaps that day. So we're gonna pick up where we left off. I made several errors that you can see me correct in real time. We're gonna get rid of some of this, right? And see how I have this fall here, right up here, right? I need that same fall point right up there. And then it wraps around the neck like that. And this gets foreshortened like that. There's little things like that that's that 5 to 10% that they don't warn you about whenever you're drawing and you claim to be a professional, that other people spot. It kind of sits out like a sore thumb. And then we're going to use this to kind of start the whole Sketh N Chill thing on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, where I'm currently streaming. I don't know how it's going to look in the future, but this is how we're starting. And got to start from somewhere, right? Got to start from somewhere. I'm going to bring this line in. Just to be a little bit, because it's away from the body, so we got to bring this up sharper there. There we go. We got an edge for that works. Hey, I see 2 people are checking us out. Sound off. Let us know where you're watching from and how's your day going. I'm Doc Solo, Dr. Solo period, from Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy, a real art school for real people with real lives. And yeah, this is something I'm doing for the new year. Don't call it a resolution, call it a commitment. And let's call it a commitment, because I'm committing to streaming regularly and frequently, as well as getting some videos together for the YouTube channel to kind of grow the audience. And people have been encouraging me. I've actually been helping other people build their platforms and ignoring mine. And that's like booty butt backwards, if I can be completely honest. And we're going to change all of that. We're going to change all of that. And so, yeah. We're going to change all of that. So it's time for me to get my house in order. Time for me to get my house in order. How are you guys doing tonight? I hope everyone's well. And if I'm the only one here, then if you're watching this replay, I hope that you are well. I told one guy the other day, and I also told my son, when he started his Twitch, and he's already a Twitch affiliate in like 2 weeks, because he's been so diehard with it, and I'm so proud of him. But I told one guy, You know, it makes sense just to go ahead and draw and let people watch what you'd be doing anyway. And I'm like, duh. But artists, us being, you know, true, we are like the most introverted group of people. I know that's easy to say and it's hard to do, and I'm a testament to that. Because even though I come off as an extrovert, when it comes to art is a very intimate thing. And hats off to all the established YouTubers and social influencers that have come out of their shells, because I know for many of them it was not hard, but they built impressive audiences, and I give props to them. I follow several of them. I'm hoping to join their ranks within the next year or so. And but I know how hard it is just to come out of that shell and put yourself out for the world. You know, my son was telling me today how he's already getting haters and taunters on Twitch, and you know, we were just talking on, and I'm still learning Twitch, even though we're streaming here. Twitch and TikTok are like the last. Twitch, TikTok, and Discord. I'm about to launch a Discord server. I've been watching videos on it, but Twitch, TikTok, and Discord for me have been like the hard sells, you know. And I know they're all kind of derivative at this point. Most social media platforms are kind of derivative at this point. Hey, LilyPad97. Twitch, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. How are you tonight? You know, us artists, we have fragile egos. So when anyone says that they're digging your art style, it's kind of a big deal. You're going to help me sleep good tonight. You're going to help me sleep good tonight. Absolutely. You're going to help me sleep good tonight. Thank you for that. Thanks for popping in. Are you ready for the weekend? Were you living for the weekend? Oh, I got some weird things going on here. Let me go ahead. Tap out and tap back in. There we go. Sometimes the brush engine gets a little confused switching between screens. Hope you're ready to enjoy yourself. I don't know where you are, but it's freezing here. I've been out like 3 times because, you know, my wife, you know, we were taking the grandbaby to and from school. I went and got us lunch, but it's freezing in Chicago. 4-day weekend? Woohoo! Woohoo! Plenty of time for art. I would agree. Well, welcome to episode 2 of Solo Sketh N Chill. This is going to be a regular offering. I'm trying to get a schedule down for it. I told my students at my online school that I'm committing to treating it like a part-time job, 4 hours of streaming a day, 2 hours here and 2 hours on my studio, you know, with my own IPs. And this is my foray into, you know, doing it for the school. My students are kind of looking at me like, you know, Dr. Solo, when are you going to start live streaming? Well, tonight, right now, they should be getting ready for class, the evening class. I may have a few of my daytime students pop in and check on me. But I'm like, y'all follow your director. Give me some encouragement. The Twitch, Discord, and TikTok. Those are my. I kind of, you know, I kind of get YouTube, and I get. That's my dog back there, my son's dog, looking for attention. I kind of get. I get YouTube. I get all the main ones, the primary ones. I get those. I know Twitch was not made for us. I know that, like, you know, artists, we are an invasive species. You know, look at what we did to Photoshop. We kind of invade territories that were not designed for us. And I think I'm going to. All right. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm not happy with that arm. It's like very Jim Lee, and I'm not anti Jim Lee. I just take a lot of my influence primarily from more European artists like Carlos Pacheco and um, um, Pepe Larraz, and things like that. So I go for more. I don't like these to be like uber stage. I like a little bit of subtlety. A little bit of subtlety. And so I think I'm gonna bring this arm down here so we get a little bit of that bicep. Yeah, because that looks a little bit more, and kind of have that connected with just barely tucking behind there. So we kind of, yeah, I kind of like that. So I think I need to move this down like that. And then we got the fist holding the club with the battle club. Yeah, I like that. So now what I'm going to do on the primary ink layer is I'm going to go ahead and move this. And go ahead and lasso, get as clean of a lasso as I can. I had started this on the last stream, and I just was not happy with how I showed up that night. And go ahead and tilt this. Was not happy with how I showed up that night. And I hope one of my students, Jimmy, he better be in class. I hope he's not watching this, because he's always trying to find a shortcut using tech. And we make many of our students initially because we want them on the same page, and we want them to build the confidence that comes with drawing traditionally. So a lot of the assignments have a traditional mandate on them for our students, and we go more into the digital side, coloring, digital inking, lettering, putting your book and stuff together. We go into that in year 2 a lot of times. I'm learning my way around Clip Studio. I'm proud to say. I kind of like that. That feels better. What do you think? What do you think, Lilypad, if you're still here, or anybody's here? I think that looks better. I think that looks a little bit more naturalistic. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. Yeah, I think it looks better. I'm going to do some things with this hand. A lot of my line weights were off. So you're going to see me sculpting lines to make them cleaner. Like I said, I'm a native Photoshop user. Back when I said, we were an invasive species artists. We are an invasive species. We oftentimes adopt things that were not intended for us, like Photoshop, but the Photoshop that exists today, you have primarily artists to thank for that, because it was created with photographers in mind. And I'll make sure this bend matches the knuckles. I don't want to have to cut it off. I don't want it to go off the page. Make sure that bend, the center of the club, goes through where the knuckles bend right here. Okay. All right, so this character, all right, I can tell you, I would love to tell you about this character. This is actually Solar Mike. What's up? Solar Mike, can I tell you a little bit about this character? It'd be my pleasure. Solar Mike, I would love, please apply. We have enrollment open for 23, 24. We're taking application interviews now, and we're only taking 10 people. Our school is small, but very intimate and very immersive, and so we're a family, and so I want to keep that feel. So I would love to see you in an interview. If you get past the first interview, then you get an interview with me, and we do a deep dive. And so I would love to interview you for our school. Thank you. All right, so a little bit about this character. This is, in fact, Lothar. Lothar, let's see if I can bring him up here. This is Lothar, and Lothar is technically the very first black superhero. We're celebrating Black History Month here at Ka-Pow, hence the colors. This is not our normal color scheme. This is our Black History Month color scheme. And this is Lothar. Lothar was the sidekick to Mandrake the Magician. You probably recognize Lothar more from Defenders of the Earth. If you're old like I am. Defenders of the Earth. Let me see if I can switch this camera to give you guys a look of my Lothar figure that my wife bought me. FaceTime went out. That happens. I think my processor's overwhelmed. But this is Lothar, and he's technically the very first black superhero. Definitively a black superhero because he actually had superpowers. So they were rarely on display, rarely if ever on display in the comic strip. He was also one of the first black characters to be treated with dignity and respect. That was kind of unusual for the times. We're talking the 1930s. And so he was the Prince of Seven Kingdoms. I actually think he's one of the forebearers of Black Panther. We know that in creativity, everything comes from something. Everything comes from something that preceded it. And so he was actually the Prince of Seven Kingdoms. He had the strength, I believe, of 7 elephants, and no weapon formed by man could harm him. So he was invulnerable. Which lends itself to, I think, some really good stories that they never explored, which to me is a tragedy. Eventually, he actually filled in for the Phantom, right? If you remember from Defenders of the Earth, he actually filled in for the Phantom recently in the past few years when the Phantom, I think, went missing. And so he donned the mantle of the Ghost Who Walks. And so what I'm doing is I'm redesigning him. You see the leopard skin pattern. This was his original look with the fez and the leopard skin. He's, of course, you're talking about the character that was, I said not. Sadly, that's okay. You get your history on. That's all right. Get your history on. This stuff matters. And just to be clear, yes, I'm a black man. This is Black History Month. But one of the things I want to do at Ka-Pow is I want to pay homage to as many cultures as possible. So I'm planning on doing something for Asian American Heritage Month, Latino American Month, and so if you want to be represented, please let us know in the comments, DM me. And when I'm trying to get on I have so much going on with the school and with my own studio with our properties, but Black History Month was low-hanging fruit. Duh, right? Yeah, he's a fascinating character that they kind of touched on his super strength on the animated show Defenders of the Earth. They touched on his super strength there. Most of his feats were borderline superhuman. I want to say borderline superhuman, but they never really. But I'm talking, if you could lift 7 elephants, man, 7 elephants, and no weapon made by man could hurt you, you're pretty much you're like Hulk level, Thor level. You know what I'm saying? And so what I did is I reimagined the character. This is based off a design that I did actually last year. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let me close this one out. A design that I did last year when I initially planned to do Black History Month. And so I wanted to keep certain elements that were easily recognizable, right? Hence the leopard skin, lapels. They had this Moroccan thing going on, so instead of the fez, which I thought, they got rid of the fez themselves, so they must have thought it was a little bit out of place. I added the sash for the red in place of the fez that's missing. Added, some flair to the boots. I wanted to make him kind of an adventure. We added tech. And because I kind of attributed him to like Thor class, right? This is fun of being a comic book geek. You can just take characters, you can play with them. I wanted to give him more African accessories, right? That were clearly of African. So I gave him this battle club, which is a very well-known African weapon that was usually made out of very hard treated wood, right? It was like a hammer. But I teched it up and, had electricity coming out of it. I wanted to make him smart because he was very smart and intelligent. So I added tech and all this stuff. So this is my iteration. And also gave him the tribal scars. I said, if he came from Africa, what African indigenous features can we give him that will kind of set him apart? And so facial tattooing and scarring is a rite of passage with many tribes. And so I said, let's give him some facial tribal scars, to kind of play up the African heritage side visually. And so yeah, this is the design that I'm working from. I'm revisiting it, and just gonna have fun. Thank you. That's the fun part about it. That's the fun part. This is what I like to teach my students. Is like, we don't have to take everything at face value. What would you do with it? That's the fun of being a creator. I'm actually going to be doing a YouTube video on the myth of creativity, and I'm going to be breaking down my definition of the elements that we often falsely think we assign the label of being creative, and what that really looks like. But everything comes from something. It's about what can you do to bring the voice. And this is kind of stuff that I learned from my mentor. Just what can I do to flare it up? What information has not been pulled on? Yeah, I have. Between that drawing and this drawing has been a year. It's been a year, and that excites me because I'm a granddad. Okay, I have like 4 adult grandchildren. I have 4 adult children and 6 grandchildren, and I'm actually a retired police officer. I've been drawing my whole life. I've been a professional artist technically since I was 14, doing t-shirt designs for a screen printer. And then I've done work for Marvel. I worked on Batman, the animated series, the original from the 90s. I've done some things, but my career was in law enforcement. And now that I'm able to draw full time, having been retired for a few years now and with the school and everything else, I'm curious to see how good I can get. I believe as an artist, we should always endeavor to be better. You know what I mean? We should always endeavor to be better. And I'm excited that I'm progressing, So it's been over a year. I don't look that old. Why, thank you. Good living, good loving, and the good Lord. That's what I tell people. The GLs. Good living, good loving, and the good Lord. I was a young parent, so I'm not super old. I just started very young, and was really kind of thrust into life, And when you're in your 20s and you got 4 kids and mouths to feed, and it's time to make some real life decisions. So yeah, my children are all adults, college, entrepreneurs. One's in politics. My eldest son, who's like 33, 34. I think he's 33. I'm and I got 6 grandchildren. I am streaming on Twitch and Facebook Live. I'm streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. I'm just trying to get the most because my time is so limited with the school and properties and commissions. I'm knocking out commissions, and I'm gonna be doing commissions here too. So on Sketh N Chill, it may be whatever. Right now we're focusing on Black History Month for February, but I'm gonna be streaming. I'm not gonna put it out there daily, but my plan is just to come whenever I pick up a pencil and I'm working on stuff that I can share, just to go live with it and hang out with you guys. You're gonna see a lot of sketches, a lot of doodles. You're gonna be seeing pages from my own studio, stuff that I can legally share because I own it. So Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Right now, I don't have permission with Instagram Live. I don't even know if I want to stream on Instagram Live and TikTok. I think TikTok may be worthwhile. Once I get that audience, I have to like create clips and stuff for TikTok, and that's time consuming. So I'm trying to find a system that I can do that on a regular basis, because you all know with everything social media, consistency is key. And so I'm trying to create content specific to the platforms, but I'm a one-man show. I have a staff for my school, but when it comes to like marketing and social media, it's pretty much me. It's pretty much me. I have my teachers are willing, but I know that all, the thing that kind of sets Ka-Pow apart from other schools is that all of my instructors are actual industry working professionals. So they have projects, they have deadlines, and they teach on the side, and so it's me. It's me. Is there some place where you would like to see me that I'm not aware of? Is there some platform or? And also the streaming, I think for me is a way to kind of get Ka-Pow. Now this is our second year of operation. I started off teaching at the International School of Comics, which was located here in Chicago, the Chicago branch. And since it closed, I opened up Ka-Pow. And instead of doing cons, which are expensive, I'm like, well, let's start streaming live and see if there's some people out there. Okay, so great question, Solar Mike. Digital drawing or pencil, should an artist know both? Abso-freaking-lutely. So you already know I'm a granddad, so I've already aged myself. But make no mistake, I'm a fan of tech. Okay, if you saw my studio, I might post a YouTube short. I'm cleaning up my studio this weekend. I might post a YouTube short and shorts everywhere, right? TikTok everywhere. I'm gonna post a short of my studio. And so you'll see that I have stations and cameras and mics and stuff everywhere. I have every legitimate drawing program that most artists have. This is Clip Studio Paint that I'm working in right now. And I'm just really starting to learn it. I've had it since before it was Clip Studio Paint. I just keep resorting back to Photoshop because that's where I was taught. But I'm quickly becoming a Clip Studio Paint fan. Because of its brushes. But should an artist know both? Yes, absolutely. There is a level of, in my opinion, there is a level of interaction that cannot be duplicated digitally that comes from a pencil and paper. There's so much safety in digital, which makes it faster for execution, faster for communication, getting it to a client, getting it out to the market, doing things like this. But I have a drafting table right here, and I will share that with you guys. I don't even have, the camera's not on. It's right over my drafting table. You see that I mix it up, man. I actually start my day typically traditionally. Traditional drawing builds your confidence, right? Because there is no Control Z, right? There is no, you'll see me do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. You only got so many times to erase with paper before you start tearing the paper up or changing the texture of the surface that you're working on to where it's no longer favorable for you. And once you lay down inks, yes, you can correct inks with process, but like what I'm doing right now, if I was doing this traditionally, there's a level of intention and focus that cannot be duplicated digitally. And I'll debate that with anybody. I firmly believe that. And so as an artist, you should definitely learn both. And I think that people are more drawn all right, so I started doing conventions again when I opened the school last year. And me being an entrepreneur and a businessman, I'm always paying attention to how people react to what I'm doing and what I'm putting out there. And so what I found is that people, we did a video just recently to open up the Ka-Pow streaming schedule on AI. You can check it out on YouTube, the great AI debate. And people are just flocking towards digital because they think it's a magic bullet. And in some ways it is. I'm not anti-digital, obviously. But there is the level of confidence, the level of planning that goes into doing a traditional piece. There's critical and strategic thinking that only makes you better. I challenge people, would you rather settle for achievement singularly or development, which leads to achievement? And I'm always a fan of, if you develop and you grow, achievement is assured. Shortcuts, yeah, you may achieve a fan base, you may get the project done, but are you better for it? Are you better at executing? And so I believe that there's a place for both. So I start my day traditional. I end my night traditional. There's a sketch pad by my bed, and I just start doodling and just feeling the resistance. Like this is like drawing on glass. I don't know if they have a they might, I don't know, so they might have. So if you guys have it, send me a link. I don't know if they have like a film protector for Cintiq for this 22-inch. If they do, I want it, because it's oftentimes like drawing on glass. I like the tooth of paper, the feel of the resistance of the pencil or the pen, gliding, scraping across the surface. I also think it's ASMR. You've seen the ASMR channels where people just listen to the sounds of, I still think it's kind of weird, but when people do things like, I don't get the fascination with it. You know what I'm saying? A paper being balled up and people crunching on chicken wings. But for me, it's it's all about the interactivity, the feel of the paper. When I hear it scratching, I hear when I hear the pen gliding, you dial in, you're like all into it. I don't get that with digital. I get the passage of time. I do get a feeling of completeness, but there's a disconnect. That I can't quite explain. And I have the iPad, I have the first generation iPad, which I still use. I have iPad, I have every program on that. I use them all. That Lothar you saw, that was on iPad. And I was just playing with the brushes when I created him. I was just trying to learn the brushes. The glass screen is a learning curve. I think it's a learning curve. Like I said, it's like ice skating. It's like ice skating, in my opinion. And so, I'm not anti it, because, I invested in it, and I'll be darned if I'm gonna waste some money, right? But they ain't got it like that. I'm doing okay, but I ain't got it like that where I can just get things to show off. So I'm gonna use it because it has a place in the environment. But it will never, in my opinion, it will never, it should never be used instead of developing traditional skills. Like right now, it's funny, I had lunch with a buddy of mine who's a well-accomplished painter, illustrator, and he's like, Solo, you are doing things backwards, which I find fascinating. He's like, you're already an accomplished professional, and you have a school. He's like, but you're going back and you're learning old techniques. Like I'm teaching myself painting. I'm working in acrylics and gouache. And I bought all these acrylic brushes and cleaners and airbrush, things that people aren't even considering doing anymore, simply because I want to really hoard up my skills, right? Because when you go to a con, what I found is like when I go to a con, I'm in place with somebody, people like and buy the prints, right? When they know they're digitally done, but people are in awe of the pencils. When they see a page, like when I bring my book out, the book that I'm doing for my studio, and they see the raw pencils with the blue line underneath on board, literally a line forms. And I think it's not because I'm such a great artist. I think it's because it's becoming a novelty. Because back when I came into cons, back when I first, got, introduced to the comic book world, the comic art world, it was commonplace. Everybody had their original artwork out there. Photoshop was new and it was not really, widely used yet. And so all the pros and all the editors, people were walking around with the big portfolios, and all you saw was raw pencils. You don't see that anymore. If you go to a con, you don't see that often anymore. I won't say you don't see that anymore. Well, no one exaggerate, but you don't see that often anymore. If you go to a convention, oftentimes you'll see inked pages on board, right? You'll see inked pages on board, but the blue line was printed on the board, and the original art was done digitally, and then they took it to an inker so they could have or they inked it themselves so they could have a physical item of original art to sell. That's a very common practice now. now that we're working on some new books with Honor Studios, that's my studio, we're working on some new books. I'm doing a hybrid approach. I'm doing some pages digitally, pages that I don't think would have much monetary appeal to most people. And I'm doing what I call money pages, all raw pencils, right? No digital, okay? And those will go in a portfolio, and those are things I think collectors would like, like covers or pages that have a lot of visual interest. So I use a hybrid approach, and I also teach that to my students, how to optimize your efforts in today's marketplace. But original art, man, I started selling my original art for the first time in my life this year. When I opened the school, I started doing cons, and the original art market is very lucrative. It's very lucrative. People are talking about this AI stuff, but I'm telling you, there's folks are spending good money on original art. And so if you have that, it behooves you. I would strongly advise you to develop a hybrid approach. Don't get stuck in the rut thinking digital's the end all. If you have something that you can show people, it's the mystery of it. It's the it's awe-inspiring, for lack of a better term. I know it is for me because I'm still a geek and a fan. When I can see how somebody was working through this by looking at the underlying sketch. It's like they're giving me a peek into their mind in their process. I feel like I was at the table with them. It's amazing to me. One of the guys, I'm a huge, not so much a fan of his work, but I'm a fan of how he teaches and his channel, who's amazing. He does everything traditional, is David Finch. Oh, I love David Finch. I love David Finch's Monday Nitro. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm trying. I'm learning. Here's the funny thing, man. As I'm talking, I'm learning, bro. That's the truth. As I'm talking, I'm learning. It's really not a zero sum. Let's give me this weird thing again. Let me reset the brush engine by clicking off screen, and clicking back on screen. There we go. Brush is back. As I'm talking, I'm learning. You guys are helping me grow. So I'm doing this a little bit cleanup work here. I know it looks like I'm not doing much. I zoom out, I zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and add the bands of his tech device. That's going to be on the back of his arm. I already have the sash here. That's around his wrist. He has one. You'll see me referencing my original drawing. I reference the original drawing like this is like the legit. Like I created the freaking character. But that's the level of ownership that you want to have when you're creating anything. I don't care if it's Batman or Spider-Man. If you're going to draw it, own it. Don't do like I don't know if you guys have ever seen some artists when they do homages or fan art of another character, they kind of breeze through it. I'm like, if you really want to, impress people, and I think as artists we're always trying not just to, we say that it's for us, but we create art for other people. Let's just be honest. For us, it's a mental release and it's escapism, but like I told my students, art is meant to be enjoyed by others. Never trust a man wearing a sash. That sounds personal, okay? What's happening, brother Kevin? What's going on with you, man? I missed you this morning. But fortunately, apparently, I think the algorithm is starting to show me some love, because some people popped in this morning that I never saw. So I'm gonna stick with it, man. I'm gonna stick with it, brother. You said never trust a man wearing a sash. But have you ever seen a guy, an artist, just kind of crank out work, and it'll be good work. Don't get me wrong. But everything that I do, I have to have some level of ownership in it. Oh man, that's life, bro. I get it. I get it. I just want to let you know that I noticed. There's no expectation. I just wanted to know that your presence is always appreciated, and when it's not there, it is missed. That's all. I know you got things to do. My expectation ain't for you to be on my Honor Studio streaming every day when I'm streaming, Monday through Friday. I know all my brothers are busy, as you know, and I would have it no other way. That means you guys are on purpose, making things happen. Who was that? Oh, it was David Arnold. May he rest in peace, the comedian on his Netflix special. When he said, I think it was one of his grandparents, said, never trust, that boy ain't got no watch. Never trust a man who don't wear a watch. Why? That means because he ain't got no business, he ain't got nowhere to be. That means he ain't own nothing. And that's the truth. Everybody that I deal with, they live on a clock. That means they're on purpose. They're doing things that are noteworthy, or require a lot of attention. And when you have somebody that just has a bunch of free time, beware, because that means they're going to suck up your time. I tell my kids that, your friends better have some business, or don't make them your friends. Don't claim them as a friend. Because people that don't have business, that have time to waste, will definitely waste yours. See, I kind of like that arm dropped off better like that. This looks weird to me, though. This looks weird to me. I want the question is, how much of that thumb should I see at that angle? Actually, I'm going to change the whole position of that hand. I'm not digging that hand at all. It wasn't a bad hand, right? It wasn't a bad hand. I could make it work. I just don't want to. I think there's a better option. That's one of the things I try to stress to my to our students is never fall in love with what you did before. Oh, RB Silva and Valerio Shitty. I cannot pronounce his name. I'm with you. They are on my current new artist top 10. I'm totally, my number one favorite artist is the one that I really started learning, who was my favorite visual storyteller that got me on the path of being a storyteller, was Carlos Pacheco. His storytelling ability was amazing. God rest his soul. Carlos Pacheco, who we just lost this year. After Carlos Pacheco is my dude, Stuart Eminem. I love Stuart Eminem. I study Stuart Eminem. His storytelling, his brevity of line, his strong anatomy, his use of geometric shapes. I'm trying to channel that, but I'm not trying to be a copy of him. But I study Stuart Eminem daily. And regrettably, he doesn't do a lot of work anymore. And I think because he's reached that superstar status where he doesn't really have to. But you have good taste, Valerio and RB Silva. I like RB Silva. He does everything Clip Studio. I used to collect RB Silva. He's in my top 10 of modern artists. I love Dan Mora. Are you familiar with Dan Mora? I love Dan Mora. His stuff is so simple and geometric, but it's effective, efficient story. At this stage, especially now I'm doing new books, I'm trying to get more efficient and effective in my storytelling without the use of line, without the use of a lot of elements that really don't add or take away anything of any real value to the story. This is illustration. I'm a fan of storytellers, right? Style is I don't do a lot of style guys. I very much focus on foundation and storytelling. Those are the things that that really get my attention. But Valerio, absolutely. Also, Marco Cicchetto. You like Marco Cicchetto from Daredevil? Oh my gosh. I love Marco Cicchetto. I collect him. I study him as well. Yeah. And it's funny because you can hear me say like, I will die on the hill recommending Dave Finch, and I'm trying to create an atmosphere that makes me feel like he makes me feel watching him, right? When he goes, he's so sincere, he's so engaging, he's freaking fast. The only thing and he's fundamentally sound. If we're talking style, I've never been a fan of people that do a lot of hyper rendering, a lot of hatching and cross hatching. To me, it's a lot of visual noise. But his use of shadow, his foundational stuff, his anatomy, David Finch, and I sit down and I'll watch his. I may not sit and watch him on Monday night, but if I'm in a waiting room or something, I will pull up his Monday night draws and I will watch all 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? All 2 hours of Monday Night Draw with Dave Finch. It's funny. I'm trying to grow an audience, but I'm recommending other people. But there's enough for everybody. You know, he don't know me from a can. I think we both started, believe it or not, at the same time. I believe he started at CrossGen when I first got my offer at DC Comics back in the day. And so, yeah, we're going to put that there. Kind of, yeah. Gonna put that there. Boom, boom, boom. This, because that baby pinky rarely comes over the top like that. And I want him to have mallets. Got that thumb, boom. And we put that firmly on the draw through. The good thing is I repositioned it so that it does actually fit. So we have that pinky coming over the top. We have that one right there. We have the thumb resting on that flat of this finger. And we have the flat of that finger. And we have that upside down V shape. Boom, boom, boom. John Boy's one of your favorites? John Boy is my dude. John Boy is my dude. Well, you know, we used to all, you know, me, Dion, John Boy, you know, we used to always powwow together. John Boy, I've watched his rise. John Boy is my guy. I love his passion. I love his heart. I love his professionalism. His stuff has an energy and a visceral, you know, his use of edges, his stuff is aggressive. You know what I mean? And his line work is aggressive, and that's what I like about it. John Boy's that guy. John Boy's that guy. I bought his sketchbook when he came out, and exactly, John Boy, he called me, and he gave me the information to where he got his sketchbook. Yeah, we all hung out at Chi-Town. It was Chicago. John Boy gave me the printer and the contact for my sketchbook that we got coming out for the Art of Honor Studios. And John Boy's that dude, man. John Boy's that dude. That is my ace boom coon. I love him. He's one, you know, he's one of those people that I can say I love him. When I was at Emerald City and he found out I was there, and I knew he was busy because, I mean, come on, he's John Boy Myers, you know, cover artist extraordinaire and, you know, industry mainstay. But you remember, we all broke in at the same time. We were all in that group together, you know, trying to get in. And I don't know if you know this, but I worked with John Boy on that, I think it was one of his early jobs with Masters of the Universe. I was part of the crew that did the pitch artwork for the license. Yeah, I did the pitch artwork. I helped, I contributed to that with him and Val Staples. So I like to say I have you know, how much of a role I don't know. I won't exaggerate it, but I had a little role in bringing He-Man back to comics with Val Staples and John Boy. John Boy did the books, but I did a piece of art for that. Yeah. Oh, you remember that? Cool. So yeah, we've been around. You and I, we've been around for a long time, kid. We've been around for a long time. Even though for the longest you didn't know that I could bring it, I found out. Like, I didn't know solo could do like that. But I don't fault you for it. Because I was never one to kind of toot my own horn, and I was living a different life, with law enforcement. I was living a different life. So there's a lot of people who didn't know that I could draw at the level. They didn't know that I was actually the first one in our crew to get, mainstream offered work. I just turned it down because I couldn't afford that life. But yeah, those were the good old days, man. I miss them. Everybody was hungry. The artists were hungry in a way that I just don't think they are anymore. I was being stingy with it. No, man. You know what? I real talk. I didn't have the confidence. You dig what I'm saying? I didn't have the confidence. There was somebody who chimed in today when I was doing the Honor Studios stream. It's called Morning Artspiration. If you'd like to see me work on my own properties, check us out. Because it's all me, I'm going to cross promote, right? Morning Artspiration, where you actually get the unfiltered me. This is a filtered version of me, but you get the unfiltered version of me, but you also get my original properties and the stuff that I'm working on in private. I share with you guys, as well as, some, why I'm wired the way that I am. And so, but somebody chimed in on that one, Kev, this morning, and he was talking about how he suffers from, comparison, and he walked away from art because he didn't think he was looking at his favorite artist, and he didn't think that, he could ever measure up. And that was me. You know what I mean? That was me. It took a while for me to kind of mature past that. The Samson joint. Yeah, I'm bringing that one back too, man. Thank you. The Samson joint, and we're changing all the titles so they're not, quite on the nose, because we don't want people to kind of reject it because of the source material. But yeah, man, that story, I'm gonna start sharing some of those on Flashback Fridays or Throwback Thursdays, or one of those things. I'm trying to get all these titles and stuff together so that so I sound like I know how to market this stuff on social media. But yeah, those pages, man, I was smoking something. I don't know what I was when I did those, but I wanted to show people that I could. Like, I don't know if you remember, a lot of those things, like 3-point perspectives, extreme double page spreads. And I like doing things that artists try to avoid typically because of the level of time and energy investment. I like doing those things. And I think that if you're a young, hungry artist, show that you're hungry, and I'm still hungry. I'm just old and hungry. I'm just old and hungry right now. Who starts a business during the pandemic, right? I did. I'm just old and hungry, man. I just, I want to leave something of merit behind, but I'm still hungry. So, I'm excited. Yeah, when I finish up these commissions, Kev, even though I'm still on Whatnot selling original art, I'm only going to commit to like small things, man. I just want to focus on getting these properties out. And because you're in the same boat, you guys are just, in a different place, but you're at that same boat where you want to see this stuff in people's hands. You know what I'm saying? You want to start getting, all I can say is, you know better than anybody. I'm preaching to the choir here. And that's where I am. I'm old and hungry. Yeah, you gotta be hungry, boy. You gotta eat lightning and crap thunder. Yeah, some guys just come with it. You would think, like, by the time you guys had met me, I had already done my stint at the animation studio, and we won a couple of Emmy Awards for the episodes that came out of our studio with Batman, BTAS, and Animaniacs. But I was an intern, and so I was I didn't claim a lot, even though I got to work on a lot of things. I didn't claim a lot. So, and still comics was different territory for me. You know what I mean? It was different territory for me. And so that was a totally different monster in a different way. And I didn't know, Dion and John Boy were crucial in letting me know, nah, dude, and you as well, that, nah, man, your voice belongs here. And then when I got that job offer from DC, that's when my confidence started kicking in. That's when my confidence kicked in. When I knew that I could, the big boys are saying, come sit at our table. What comics am I reading lately? You're reading the new Black Panther Gargoyles and Strange Academy. Unfortunately, I'm not reading a lot of comics lately. My schedule, I heard this when I was first getting into comics. My mentor told me, if you want to read comics, stay out of comics. Right? And believe it or not, a lot of professional artists, they don't read comics. They don't have the time. They're too busy creating. And me, though I'm not in the mainstream, I am busy creating and I have a school. And so reading a comic book is a luxury. Gargoyles has me excited, right? Gargoyles has me excited because that's my generation, That's what I grew up on. It's one of my favorite animated shows of all time. And so, but because of the price point now of comics and the time factor, for me, it's hard to get me to 1, 2, got another finger here. It's hard for me to really commit the time, if I'm being quite honest. It's hard for me to commit the time because I have to produce. And so I'll go to the comic store. Believe it or not, I go to the comic book store every week. I go every week just to hang out with the dudes. I'm now approaching it more like a businessman. Yeah, see, Kev, he's a writer, and he doesn't read them for the most part anymore. Like when you start getting in it, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I do still read them. I'll get more graphic novels now. I'll wait for a run to finish, and then it has to meet a couple of elements for me to go ahead and invest. Number one being the artist. Number two being the story. Like I'll buy a book simply because I know who drew it and I know how they get down, right? They do need to do a live action Gargoyles. I totally agree. They need to do a live action Gargoyles. Especially now with the technology that exists, where you don't have to have cheesy makeup, and the motion capture, that's the technology is primed for it. I think they may be leaning towards that because, quite honestly, Disney ain't got a whole lot going on outside of Marvel that people are really caring about anymore. Feel free to disagree. This is just my opinion. But Disney ain't got a whole lot going on anymore outside of the MCU. And I think, like everyone else, they are thirsty for content. And Gargoyles fits the bill, man. Star Wars? You talking about as far as stuff going on? I mean, Star Wars is it's a staple. You know what I'm saying? And even it is hit or miss. Like if you read some of the boards, and I'm constantly reading that stuff. Outside of the Mandalorian, Andor did okay. Mandalorian was amazing. But Star Wars is kind of what it is at this point. Gargoyles, even though it's been presented in an animated form, for the masses, it's new. See, because Star Wars has always been in front of the public eye. Gargoyles has not. it's been gone. Yeah. Yeah, they are spinning a bunch of stuff off. Gargoyles has been gone. And because it's been gone, that camera's not working. Let me switch a camera that you guys can see. Because it's been gone, I'll add this camera overlay, edit. My FaceTime camera's out. That's all right. We got plenty of cameras. That's one thing we got. We got cameras. But because Gargoyles has been out of the public eye, I think it qualifies as being something new, right? You want something to be new, sit it on the shelf for a few decades, right? And then let the previous generation age out a little bit to the point where they're chomping at the bit for it, and let a whole new generation that is dying for something quote unquote new arise, and I think you have a hit. So I think Gargoyles is something that, and I may be biased, when I tell you I was just watching it the other day. When I tell you I love Gargoyles, I recorded every episode on VHS when they were coming out live. Okay, when they were coming out live. And I actually own every episode before they came out on Disney Plus. And Disney Plus, Gargoyles was one of the linchpins of me pulling the trigger to get Disney Plus. So the question is, do I like Gargoyles? Heck yeah. You better believe your Goliath. I love Gargoyles. But I think it's primed for it. I think if they do a live action, it will kill. It will kill. And they can do it on, and I'm not saying even big screen. I remember, you probably remember this, Kev, when Dion was at Hasbro. And I remember this. Someone had a Goliath maquette that was painted and it was striped. And I think Dion had one. I don't know. Did they give that to Dion, or was Dion able to get? But it was a Goliath maquette that was sculpted and it was painted, and he had like tiger stripes. It was gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it was so gorgeous. Ask Dion about that. You remember that? Do you remember that? Did Dion have that, or was it at the office? Because you were at Hasbro too. Did Dion have that, or was that at the office? Yeah, that thing was beautiful, man. That burned in my memory. That maquette, that thing was so firmly burned in my memory. Yeah, it was there. I think it was at the office. I'm pretty sure it was at the office. I'm like, I can remember if Dion had that, or if that was just at the office on display. All I remember is that bad fellow was gorgeous. Whew. So you ain't gotta. It wouldn't take a lot for me to agree with the need of a Gargoyles live action. Start a freaking petition. And those petitions work, by the way. One thing about social media is the big boys, the big production companies, they're listening. They are watching. You see, they brought back to HBO Max. You see, they brought Warrior, the story that was created by Bruce Lee, and the new season's coming out. That was canceled. But there was a petition. I know because I signed it. I signed a petition to bring Warrior back because I wanted to see, it finished. You know how we are with martial arts, Kev. Like I needed Warrior. And like, no, y'all need to finish this, man. Don't do Bruce's legacy like that. Yes. Great series. Absolutely great series. Great series, hands down. And so I think it starts back up in March, I believe. I know it's this year because I saw the trailer release for it. I mean, the announcement for it on HBO. Yeah. That hand works better. That hand works better. I think that arm works better. I think that arm works better. It looks a little stunted to me for some reason. So look at the length of this one. I think I need to elongate it a little bit more. Or either push it back, push that bicep back. Let me try pushing that bicep back. We don't need to see so much of that. And one of the reasons I'm putting so much energy into this is because, and here's the funny thing, make no mistake, if I was doing this traditionally, this would have been done. I'm actually faster traditionally than I am digitally. And I think it's because I have more confidence traditionally than I have digitally. Because Lord knows I don't have a lot of confidence in Clip Studio Paint because I'm still learning the landscape of it. And the interface and all the shortcut keys, even though I actually reprogrammed some before I came on to mimic Photoshop. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. I can go ahead and get rid of the practice sketch up top. Welcome to Sketh N Chill with Solo, episode 2. And this is gonna be primarily like my cool down night, my cool down time, and me just doing my thing. This is gonna be a regular series. Yeah. Command Z, Command C, Command V. There we go. There we go. Right. Command Z, Command X, Command V. There we go. I want you off that layer, so I can turn you off. Put you down here out the way. I always like to keep those little things for reference, so we can see what we end up with at the end, because you never quite know how it's gonna turn out. You never quite know. You never quite know. How was your day, Kev? You get a lot done today? Today was a struggle getting to the gym, and when I woke up and I saw that 1 degree, and I saw that 1, I was like, Lord, please, what are we doing? Little rim light underneath there. Catching a little light back there. There we go. So it's funny, I woke up this morning to go to the gym, y'all. And, you know, I wake up, those who know me know I usually get up around 4:30. So I get to the gym at 5. And I woke up, man, and I saw it said 1 degree. I had gotten all my clothes on to go to the gym. I had my shoes on, I had my coat and my hat on. And I still managed to talk my way out of going at that time. I actually laid back down. Did not even go to sleep. I just didn't want to go in the cold. I laid for about an hour. Then I got up and I went anyway. And I still made it there, but I almost lost that fight. I was not feeling great. Got to the gym. That's it. As long as you got there. Yeah, as long as you got there. You can draw pretty good, but that part where I'm not drawing, I'm not really knowing how it. Finish your thought, Mike. I draw pretty good, but that part where I'm not really knowing how it turns out, how it's gonna turn out, that part, that's the secret sauce, bro. I think many of us, most artists, that I follow and that I know personally, we actually just hope for the best. Quite honestly, it really does become like a crapshoot, bro. because you don't know how it's going to turn out. You really don't. You start with a general idea, and I'm also a fan, because I tell my students this all the time, let it speak to you. Let it tell you where it's going. You know, some of the best laid plans that I've had artistically, I literally had no idea where it was going, but where it ended up, I was pleased with. Now, granted, you want to enter with the plan as often as you can. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to be, you know, all, you know, artsy-fartsy with it. You know, you want to have some kind of workable plan, a guideline, a roadmap of where you'd like to end up. But sometimes, like, what was his name? Bob Ross, you get these little happy little accidents, you know? And every time I'm drawing, someone mentioned earlier, the reference piece of when I drew him a year ago now, how much better it looks. Because when I started the one a year ago, the one that actually colored and everything, I had no idea. I was just spitballing this guy, right? I was just spitballing this guy. We're going to put most of this in shadow here. Oh, don't want that. Undo it. There we go. Close that gap. You can actually change the width of it closing gaps. I'm just not going to do that right now. It's just easier to do it manually. I was recording this the other day, and I lost all of it. So I'm still having an issue with it's using up a lot of my RAM. I actually started deleting stuff today. Yeah, see that? Why are you showing up on that screen? Why are you doing that? He's acting all kind of janky. Acting all kind of janky. I'm gonna start framing him right now. Trust me, y'all, I'm gonna be getting complete characters done. Right now, this is so exploratory for me, so please just bear with me. This is very exploratory for me. I'm just trying to get a feel of the program. Like I said, if I was working digitally, traditionally, we'd be done. We'd be so done. Let me go ahead and add, I know what I'm gonna do. Let me go ahead and go default white. GG. Boom. Just start filling this guy in. So I can start adding background. That's another reason why it's a good idea to kind of keep some of that red back there, because I can see it disappear, right? Because I'm gonna start adding a framing background to him, because he's transparent, right? Just know that this layer is transparent. And so right now I'm just filling it with white. And as I watch the red underdrawing disappear, I know that I'm in a good space with filling it all the way out. And trust me, I'm sure it looks rough right now because there's a cheat. Now what I could do is I could just do this. I could just create another layer, right? I'll create another layer. Choose gray, right? Alt delete, fill it with gray, go back to my white. We don't have to overcomplicate it, right? I can just go here with the lasso tool and just fill in large sections at a time. Let's go white. It's a different type of thinking if you're not used to using digital. When you're thinking in terms of layers, unlike traditional, where you really just have to think about what's in front of you and how you want to approach it, from an artistic standpoint. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just filling in these areas so that I have so when I frame him, it won't dissect his body. Thank you guys for joining me for these first couple of episodes. Again, apologies for, but you guys are going to see the development of this channel and this show. I've been on YouTube for a while, but I guess you can call it new. And I guess, new things from what I've been hearing with all the YouTube videos that it's never too late to start. And for me, it's not even about, monetization, though I hope that happens. It really is about raising of an awareness of this school that I'm building and this incredible community of aspiring artists that I have the pleasure of teaching, and wanting to make this opportunity available to others. Like I said, if it was about money, I'd open up a lot more seats than 10, and we wouldn't reject as many students as we do. I think last year we rejected maybe 4 or 5, right? 4 or 5, and if that's school, we only have we have 10, just under 10 students. So it was about money. I would have took everybody, but we're looking for people that kind of are in alignment with what we're trying to, our mission as a school. People who actually want to create something, have stories they want to tell, and are passionate about it, not people that are just interested. We want people that are committed. We don't want people that are interested. Because as Kevin or any other professional tell you, I don't care who you watch on here, if you want to be any good at it, you have to be committed. You can't be interested. You got to be committed to it. It's a discipline. But it's so fulfilling when you're creating things that people like and then the marketplace responds to. I want everyone to feel that, especially people who have stories to tell. And believe it or not, we all have stories to tell. We all have stories to tell. And that's kind of where our school hangs our hat. We are a storytelling school. Drawing is just a vehicle for story. But above all, we want you guys to learn what it takes to tell a good story. I tell people, drawing is formulaic. It's relatively easy to learn. Anatomy is what it is. Perspective is what it is. The secret sauce is storytelling. You're going to hear me say this many times, and if any of my students watch this on replay, like I say again, they should be in class tonight with my superstar instructor, Brian. But if anybody's watching this, when you talk about, whenever I give my spiel, I have to speak at a college next week. And you hear everybody saying it when it comes to marketing and promotions. Even when people invest in a business, they want to know what the story is, right? And if you learn how to deliver a compelling story, the world becomes your oyster. I tell my students all the time, you're going to hear this on auto repeat for the duration that I'm doing this channel and Twitch and Facebook Live or wherever I may be. Who knows where I'm gonna be next week? Who knows what's gonna pop up? TikTok, whatever. You could have a really incredible artist and a mediocre story, and you will have an epic fail of a product. But you can get away with mediocre art and a good story, and you will have a groundbreaking hit. Okay, and That's the truth. They're like, well, so you know, Doc, you're an artist. Why would you say? Well, I'm actually a writer who can draw. Kevin and I, we actually connect on the literary side, you know, because he's an exceptional writer. Me, I'm a writer who can draw. I study the art of storytelling, you know. Truth. Thank you, sir. You know, I study the art of storytelling. I had to learn how to draw because I wanted to be able, that's the honey in the pot, right? That's the vehicle. And like I said, it's the vehicle. The passenger, though, the precious cargo is the story. That's the precious cargo. Come on now, love. Show me some love. This brush engine keeps acting goofy. I have to click off, then click back on, and hopefully it gives me. There we go. Nope, wrong way. Yeah, story. That's the precious cargo. You know, if you notice, like back in the day, and I'm sure Kevin, he can attest to this. Back in the day, artists were the rock stars in the industry. Today, the rock stars are the writers, not the artists. You know, we're the artists are the backup singers. Why? Because content and story is king. It's always been king. It's just that people didn't know what they were looking at. They didn't know what they were looking at. And once the marketplace matured, you know, I think it wised up and said, wait a second, hold up. You know, luckily, you know, guys like Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri and top, you know, Rob Liefeld, they got in when the getting was good before everybody woke up, because that was the age of the superstar artist. Now, these services, they want good stories, right? And I get it. I guess I don't have the bias because I do both at I think at a decent level. You know, I'll leave that for the audience to decide. But because I do both, I don't have any particular bias, because I always felt that way. You know, yeah, artists, we're the easy sell, right? Because if many of the decision makers, they have to see it to get it, right? And that's where the artist comes in. Many aren't capable of visualizing the length and the breadth of an effective story, because many of those people are not creatives. They are administrative people and money crunchers and, you know, accountants that make a lot of the decisions. And so they really don't know, they don't know story like that. And so accompanying visuals is a must, because you have to give them a diagram, a template to follow, right? And that's where the artist comes in. And so granted, it's a marriage, it's a codependency in many ways. But a lot of writers, and Kevin can attest to this, the big ones reach a point where they don't need an artist. You know, like your Neil Gaiman and even Mark Millar, where they really don't need an artist, because now they, you know, the marketplace is wised up, and these guys were major names to begin with, and they're like, wait a second, you know, this guy, it's about his stories. What stories do they have to tell? You know, but for us mere mortals, you know, it is a codependent relationship in many ways. A lot of artists, you know, they mourn the day of the superstar artist. I do not, because I believe you need superstar storytellers, and the artist is still that, right? He's still a storyteller, right? And I think making the distinction sometimes can be a mistake, you know, because the artist has to be a storyteller. Entertainment execs, what they ask for is a universe. They want something that has longevity. A universe represents a continuation. If this becomes a hit, how long can we hold it? You know what I mean? How long can we hold this time slot? Or, so they want a universe. You're absolutely right. They want something that can be built and expanded upon. When we're looking at what's going on with James Gunn and DC with his epic announcement that everybody is so excited about, and rightfully so, because finally they got rid of people that don't know story, that were just in it for their own agenda, and he brought in someone that cares about the media, cares about the fans, and now they are positioning themselves to enter the universal arena of storytelling like Marvel did. It just took them forever to get there. You said like Game of Thrones? Yeah, like Game of Thrones. It's a universe. I think that's kind of grown past George R.R. Martin. Quite honestly, because from what I hear, he's incredibly slow in creating stories. But I from what I heard, it's but Game of Thrones is a great example. It's a great example. Put that undershadow there. They want an entire universe so that they can milk it for as long as possible. You're seeing it with Anne Rice, with the Mayfair Witches, which I think is weird. But I did watch Interview with the Vampire because I was a fan of the original movie from the 90s. But you see, they're calling it the Immortal Universe, right? The Anne Rice series on A&E. Now they're doing the Mayfair Witches. They're making her books an entire media universe. Let me see. Did I lose some of these lines? Yep, wrong layer. Oops. Wrong layer. Let me go way back. That's the problem with talking. Talking kind of lose track of where you at. But that's all right. It's still gonna look good at the end, y'all. I'm not even going to prolong this out too. I'm not gonna make y'all suffer through my learning curve with this program. Make y'all suffer through it. So we're gonna get what we can get done tonight. Make it respectable. I think that could be a print. I'm thinking about doing something called info prints, as I'm creating prints for this next con season. And I wanted to do something because I'm getting a lot of interest from Black homeschooling groups and Afrocentric communities. And we have such a rich culture of superheroes and characters. I was thinking about doing what I call info prints, where there's information about the character, their origin, their publication history, a little brief blurb, and putting that all on the print or either on the back of the print. That's what I'm thinking about doing with stuff like this. Because I have another one planned for, I might start it this weekend. It's the first Black female superhero, Butterfly. A lot of people don't know who she is. If you know who she is, those who know. Well, as I always say, those who know. But to the to the public, she was the first. Most people don't know who she is, and she was the first Black female super character, Butterfly. And so I actually have an entire file that I created last year when I was initially going to do this. And of course, I'm gonna give you your Storm. I'm gonna give you your Black Panther. They are canon, and they are, and just because they're newer, make no mistake, they are pillars of the black comic book character movement, you know, and representation in comics. Hopefully I grow this channel and my influence to the point where I can have some, you know, I was watching these guys, black comic lords, and I don't know who they are. Maybe they just asked, but they're getting like black heavy hitters in the industry and doing interviews, and I'm like, hopefully I have enough. If I make these relationships, I'd like to have that here on Ka-Pow for next year's Black History Month. But Ka-Pow, make no mistake, is for everyone. This is just for Black History Month. I want to be able to have enough influence, like when it's American Asian Heritage Month, that I have, you know, I would love to have, like, you know, Francis Manipal, who's a acquaintance of mine, and you know, other Asian stars of the craft, you know, come and share their experiences. I think we all just need to get to know each other, you know, and know why, and learn and really listen as to why these things are so important. You know, a lot of people, we hear the mantra of representation, but we don't know why it's so important. I mean, I know why, as a man of color, as a black man in America, with black sons and black daughters, I know why. But not everyone shares that sentiment. And they just don't know. And I think it's because we don't take the time to actually get to know other people's cultural journeys and really listen to their stories and their histories. Where's that brush at? There was a brush here. I think this may be a marker that does this really cool like outline. I used it for the Miles Morales piece that I did. Maybe it's a Frienden brush. I used it for this Miles Morales piece that I did, and it draws a negative space. Like, I got a lot of brushes, y'all. And I was seeing if I could find that for the shoelaces. But it draws a stroke and a feel. Oh no, it's not a brush. It's a tool. All right, so let me find it. I gotta find it first. Let me finish filling in this white. Why am I still? Why are you still giving me? Oh. Nope. Give me the pen. There we go. I'm learning, y'all. Yeah, if I was doing this traditional, we'd be way done with this. Or if I was doing this in Photoshop. All right? I know every quick key in Photoshop. And you know who taught me Photoshop, Kev? Dion. My brother taught me Photoshop. He birthed a digital monster. I've had so many mentors. I've been so blessed. I've been so blessed that people thought enough of me to commit their time and their energies and open up their homes to me. Oh, absolutely, I'm watching animation. You know, I'm always watching animation. For those of you who don't know, so you heard me say that, you know, I worked at an animation studio on stuff, but I am natively an animator. That's my, and I'm currently, dude, Vox Machina. I was about to mention Vox Machina. Vox Machina is amazing. It's amazing. I love Vox Machina. Love it. Love it. Time well spent. And you know, maybe it's this week, but they're introducing, they did a deal with Joe Mad, and the Battle Chasers are going to be making an appearance on Vox Machina this year. Phil Barossa, the lead designer, and I think one of the producers of the show, he already said that he released it on Instagram that Joe Mad's Battle Chasers will be appearing on Vox Machina. Yes. I know, right? Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. My wife comes back here. Where's my phone? Where's my phone?
Sorry, guys.
They just. I think Joe Mad is I think Joe Mad. I don't know him personally. I would love to pick his brain because I've always been a Joe Mad fan. You cannot look at his work and not be a fan. I don't care who you are. I don't care what styles you're into. He was the major influence with John Boy back in the day. John Boy wanted to be the second coming of Joe Mad, and if you ask me, he did that and then some. And so, but yeah, it's like Joe Mad. I don't know if he made the best choices, man. I know he wanted to do his own thing with the video games and stuff. I think that he could have had both. It's just something just didn't add up to me, And even though I have all of his art of books of I got all the art of books from the games. Yeah, all right, so I know they dropped 7, 8, and 9. I do know. I keep up with it. So, excuse my neuroses. But you and I are from the same generation, Kev. And my wife will tell you, she just walked upstairs. I still keep the tradition of Saturday morning cartoons in my house. And so I literally don't watch that. I don't watch My Hero Academia or Chainsaw Man or my favorite animes until Saturday morning. Right? And so even though I know they come out, I kind of put a stopgap in place because I get my bowl of cereal. Right now, my favorite cereal, because I eat clean during the week. So Saturday mornings is when I get my donuts and I eat my Frosted Flakes. I got my strawberry Frosted Flakes, and I will sit down in my robe and my drawers tomorrow morning, and I will be watching Vox Machina and the current episode of My Hero Academia. And yeah, so he did. When you say he did, are you agreeing that he didn't? I don't think he made the best business choices. Yeah, you're right. Great artists in that era were not great at business. I think that he was still very much approaching it as an artist. And because he was the it guy at the time, make no mistake. And I still think if Joe Mad decided, and I just think he's done with comics, but if he decided to come back, you talking about somebody whose books would fly off the freaking shelves. I think Battle Chasers really hurt him because, this is one of the things I teach my students when they ask about the regularity of release. Especially now that I have we're releasing Honor Studio stuff in this next upcoming year. And I told them, your fans and supporters don't care when your book comes out as long as it's there when you say it's going to be there, right? And the problem with Joe Mad is, you remember with Battle Chasers, he could not keep his self-proclaimed deadlines. We were waiting 4 or 6 months for a book to come out. And I think at first he was doing a book every other month, right? I think he committed to one every 60 days. And I think he got distracted. I don't think he was focused. I don't know what the thing, whatever the reason, there was a lack of focus that was made apparent in his inability to release in a timely manner. But I know fans dropped off like in droves. And, but I still believe, because he was so hot and his work still carries today, that if he were to say, I'm coming back with a new property, or I'm coming back with Battle Chasers, and I'm going to release one book a year, I guarantee you the sales will be phenomenal. I believe that. Because guess what? Every year I'm looking for the book to come out. I'm looking for social media drops. I'm looking for announcements, right? When people support you, they just don't want to be let down and disappointed. I think that's the worst thing you could do. He was so far in front with Battle Chasers. Yeah, he was. He was. He absolutely was. I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. All right, so we have him blocked in for the most part. Yeah, we have him blocked in for the most part. There we go. Cool. All right. And so now I can go ahead and start. I'll go ahead and get rid of this. And I'll finish all this other stuff later. I just want to get him framed. And so on another layer behind that white layer, and the reason I don't work on a lot of layers, but I do like to separate my planes of foreground, middle ground, background on different layers. And so we're gonna add some trees back here. For some reason my processor needs to catch up a little bit. And I'm going to add some grass up front. Control my line weight a little bit better. But first let me get the broad strokes in. Kind of break up this straight line and have that little I think that he really shot himself in the foot. I know he lost me. You know, I just stopped keeping track and I was like, whatever, dude. And then when he went full into his video game company, I don't know how that panned out for him. I don't know all the details. You probably know more than I do. I'm just going off of how I felt about it, to be quite honest. But yeah, I think he really shot himself in the foot. He let so many of his fans down. And he kind of became, you know, you didn't hear a lot about him. You know, he would come out occasionally and help launch a story. You know, I don't know if that was money moves or what, or just trying to stay connected to the industry, you know. But he proved, even in that no matter what he did, we wanted his stuff. This, you know, we wanted his stuff. You dig what I'm saying? You know, it was coveted, it was desired. Yeah, we wanted his stuff. I know I had some specialty brushes, but we didn't care, you know. I remember when he came out, he did the Avengers, the Ultimate Avengers. Add a little bit of texture here. And just trying to make something that feels tree-like in the background. I ate it up, and what happened, you know, it's funny, man. So let me get your input on this. I'm gonna have to get you to come in as a co-host on my next stream, Kev. We got to talk this weekend, man. Let's see what your schedule's like. I'd love for you to kind of sit in with me while I do this. I think we can have some great conversations. You know, I love your take on things. Help you come and hang out with me sometimes if you can find time in your schedule. You know, I use my wife. I wear her out on Whatnot, so I don't think she's trying to do a whole lot because she's not co-host on Whatnot. Having someone help with the co-hosting really does help you kind of get the artwork done faster. That is a truism. But I was talking to somebody, it being Black History Month, One of these nights I'm going to do sketch cover, right? I'm just gonna do a sketch cover. And I have all of these milestone sketch covers. And I don't know how you feel about it, man. I just can't bite my tongue with it. But I think I'm not happy with the way Milestone has been handled. You know, I talked to my guys who own stores, and you know my story. Milestone really was the first property that got me when I saw people that looked like us doing things in comics. Dennis Cowan and McDuffie, and MD Bright, who actually mentored me, when I was new to the craft, and kind of took me under his wing. And like I said, I've been blessed to have people that were willing to invest in me, their time and their energy. Ooh, it's nice. It's a nice texture. And so anyway, I just don't like how Milestone has been handled, right? And what I mean by that is, I'm happy that it's back. The sales have been abysmal. I don't know how to quite feel about it, and I don't want to cause controversy, especially just coming out the gate with our channel. I don't want to cause controversy. But Milestone was so crucial to me. It was so crucial to me personally as a young black artist. I would love to speak to Dennis. I told my one guy that Milestone is the only company that I actually had somebody reach out to me, see if I'd be interested in doing some layouts, some Marvel stuff. And Milestone is the only company that I even consider, not that I'm that great, but if I'm going to do pages and stuff like that, Milestone is my bucket list. It's my bucket list. So if you spoke to Dennis and you can get him to come check out the stream, or if he's willing, I was thinking about reaching out to him. He doesn't know me from a can of paint. But I'm happy that it's back. I think it could have been handled better. I don't believe that, so here's my thing. We've seen it play out in the industry. Joe Mad, for example, right? When you have a new property that's coming out, and we're going to consider Milestone new because it was an entire generation. It was a generation removed from the audience. It's guys like us that remember the first iteration. And I bought everything Milestone. I bought every title they had, bro. And I still got them in my thing. I gravitated towards Icon Rocket, Blood Syndicate, and Static with John Paul Leon, MD Bright, and Chris Cross. And Blood Syndicate was the only one I didn't collect because of the art. I collected that because of the concept of a superhero team that wasn't a team. They were a gang, right? They were a street gang. And I thought that was brilliant. And I collected hardware for a while. I was always an admirer of Dennis Cowan, being a man of color in the industry at that time, in that era. And so anyway, with that being said, we've all seen it where anything new or a major launch, they always put their best artists on that property, at least for the first 4 or 5 issues, to get traction and to get momentum. Right? That's you gonna reach out to him soon? Do you mind just dropping a bug in his ear? Because I'd love to connect with him. But a lot of the properties, I'm like, I don't feel they gave it the royal treatment, especially to a generation that was unfamiliar with it. Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. Have a good night. And so the stories are so great. The characters are so impactful. It's very personal for me. Love you too, man. Love you too, brother. You take it easy, man. Have a good night. They're so impactful, and so, I don't know, maybe it's just me as a diehard fan, but I'm like, you got to do everything, especially as something that's as important as that, to ensure that it succeeds. And I don't know if I feel like that was the case. I don't know if I feel that was the case. I feel that they came out, and I was so excited for the release, but like the marketing. I watched the thing on HBO Max like 4 or 5 times, right? I watched that like 4 or 5 times by itself. You know, I think I'm kind of losing this tree up here, but we're gonna go ahead and so Milestone is such a important library of properties. I just would have liked to have seen them throw more resources at it, or hopefully in the second phase they do throw more resources at it to ensure success and its longevity. Because I've talked to some of my friends that own comic book stores, and you know, my first inclination was when I went to go buy the blank sketch covers. And if any of you guys are artists that do commissions and sketch covers and the like, you know, hot title sketch covers are hard to come by. They fly off the shelves very quick because fans want to get their favorite artists to draw on them, and the artists that know that they can sell them at a good price with some artwork on them, they scoop them all up. When I tell you I had no problem getting Milestone 0 sketch covers, I bought a lot. Because I'm going to do them regardless. That's my love affair with Milestone. I'm a super geek for Milestone. But when my guys were telling me, and it may be the market, you know, I know the comic book market as a whole isn't the healthiest, you know, so we have to consider that. We always have to put that in the equation. But when I look at what it did comparatively speaking and what my guys were telling me, you know, it kind of broke my heart. I'm like, what do you mean they're not selling? You know, how can they not sell? You know, because I do know that most of the people that are going to buy are guys that, like me, they're in my age group, right? They're in my age group. And then the Milestone Initiative giving young Black artists and BIPOC artists an opportunity, huge. I thought that was brilliant. I was so happy I actually know somebody that got selected for that. Brilliant. It's just now, you know, because we know all it's going to take is somebody that doesn't care about the properties, that is just looking at the black and white numbers to say, you know what, okay, we're going to stop, we're going to cancel the title, because they cancel titles all the time. I want to see Milestone win big. I want to see it everywhere, you know, because it is so important to have adequate representation in the marketplace. And I know when they came out in I remember 93, I was 22 years old, lost, didn't know what I wanted to do as far as my art and my passion. Milestone came out, and man, whew, I wanted to draw again, and that's what got me back drawing again, you know. So I'm hoping that the powers that be do what's necessary to ensure success. That's all, and I'm asking as a fan. I'm not even talking about the industry pro. I don't care if I never get an opportunity to work with them. I want to see these books win. Point blank, end of story. I want to see these books win. Why are you freezing on me? Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna come back with this done. I'm gonna go ahead and sign up. I'm hungry. It's 6:43. I think I'm here by myself, but that's okay. Mission accomplished. We got episode 2 in the books of Solo Sketch and Chill, and I'm gonna sign out here and go see what my wife needs, and get more familiar, reacquainted with Clip Studio Paint, so stuff like this doesn't happen. So I can knock out this stuff quickly, and but yeah. Thanks for hanging out. If you're following me on Twitch, if you're following us on YouTube or Facebook Live, support, like, follow. I am Doc Solo from Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy, the real art school for real people with real lives. If you are interested in our school, we are taking application interviews. We only have 10 slots made available for this upcoming year 1, because all the year 2 students have declared that they are coming back. And so we're going to open up year 1 with 10 slots for first year students, all virtual, online, real instruction, talk about real pros in real time, not a video library, where we provide community, we provide feedback and and instruction and assignments and everything that you want if you're trying to learn how to tell your stories in a real compelling and dynamic way. So check us out at Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy. I'm Dr. Solo Perry. We're everywhere at Ka-Pow School. Visit kapowschool.com and also check out our app. We have an app for artists, a prompt app called Ka-Pow Power Prompt, and you can download it. I will be actually drawing from Ka-Pow Power Prompt as soon as we're out of Black History Month. That'll be one of my regular drawing sessions, drawing directly from the prompt, where it just gives you suggestions on what to draw and you interpret it as you see fit, but you can download it for yourself at iOS and Android. It's a 5-star app. I'm proud of it because it's the work of my hands. With the assistance of my cousin, we created something that was simple, clean, but effective to help you grow artistically and creatively. And so I'm going to wish you all a very happy weekend. I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to sign off. And I will see you guys next week right here for episode 3 of Solo's Sketh N Chill Black History Month edition. Peace out. Solo out. Thank you. I will. Don't know what I'm eating yet, but I'm going to try to have a good meal. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you for supporting.